Hello everybody and welcome to part 14 of What If Izuku Midoriya had an Anti-Quirk Sword. Originally this series started as an adaptation of Asta's powers but into the My Hero Academia universe, but because of many of your suggestions, the concept has evolved over time. If you have missed any of the previous parts, there will be a link in the description below and the annotation above. If you do enjoy the series, please leave a like though. And if you're new, consider subscribing. After passing the provisional license exam, the students return home, getting some much needed rest after all that training. In this version of events, because the attack on the training camp never happened, the dorms are not a thing, so they just go home. Some days pass and the second semester at UA starts. Midoriya gets at home, gets ready to go to school and rushes off, putting his shoes on and leaving. Once he arrives, he and the class go to the initiation ceremony. After that, the students return to class. Aizawa says, "Okay, starting today, we will resume our regular class and training schedule. We have been pushing you a lot for the last, a bit over the top, pushing you way too much over the last few weeks, but that is just so you are prepared for whatever threats may come in the future. That said, things are only gonna get worse from here." Ashido turns to Tsuyu and whispers, "He can't mean that, right?" Aizawa hears her and looks at her with his anti-quirk look, asking if she wants to share. Tsuyu asks, "What were those things the principal was talking about? The workplace studies?" Aizawa says, "I was going to talk about it at a later date, but I guess it's more logical to do it now. To put it simply, it's work outside of class, like the internships you did at pro hero agencies before, only closer to the real thing." Raka asks, "Wait, then why did we work so hard at the sports festival?" Aizawa explains, saying that it was to make connections needed to get a workplace study, and then he explains it. Then he says he will explain all at a later date, since it isn't certain if the first-year students will be allowed to do them. A couple of days later, in class, Aizawa says, "Okay, now that the school board has decided what route we want to go, we will be talking more about the workplace studies." Bakugo chimes in, saying, "It's about damn time." Aizawa looks at Bakugo, then turns to the door and says, "Go ahead and come in." 3 students come into the class. Aizawa continues, "I'll have people who have experienced it firsthand explain. I suggest you listen carefully as they point out how workplace studies differ from internships. These 3 are 3rd years at UA. They rank at the very top of our student body. You may know them as the Big 3. The students look in awe at the Big 3 as they wait for them to speak. Of course, as happens in the anime, Amajiki can't find the courage to speak, so he just sits in a corner, and Neijire goes completely off topic, which gets Aizawa a bit mad. Miria diffuses the situation and says, "Instead of explaining, I might as well show you what a workplace study can do for you." The students go to the gym to do the exercise they did in the anime against fighting Mirio. Mirio thinks to himself, burnout use one for all on them might be too much for them to handle, and the exercise begins. Mirio first goes to defeat the long-range students, getting them out of the way quickly. But before he can proceed to take on the short-range combatants, the exercise is interrupted. I'm getting a bit ahead of myself here. Let's back up a bit. About 5 minutes ago in the teacher's lounge, All Might was having a nice, soothing cup of tea, replenishing his strength and calming down a bit. He then gets a call. All Might picks up the phone and seeing it's Tsukauchi asks, "What's the matter, old friend?" Tsukauchi says, "All Might to the League have made their move. All for One is with them." All Might spits out his tea and asks, "What?" Tsukauchi says, "They have been spotted in Tartarus Prison. I think they are planning on a breakout. All for One is leading the charge. We need you here, All Might." All Might is about to rush over, but thinks for a moment, thinking maybe it's a good idea to ask his apprentice for help. He asks Tsukauchi, "Please, old friend, send a quick method of transportation to UA. I'm not going alone." Back in the present, All Might in his buff form wearing his hero suit rushes into the class saying, "Yo Mirio, I need your help." Mirio, who was about to attack the rest of Class A, asks, "What's the matter, All Might?" while getting out of battle position. This is when some of the 1A students attack Mirio, but they just go right through him. He says, "Come on guys, let's take a break." All Might says, "It's the League. They are making a move. I need your help. They are attacking Tartarus." There is even a confirmation that he is there. Mirio says, "Alright then, let's go." But before they can, Midoriya says with no hesitation whatsoever, "Wait, All Might, I want to help." Followed by Bakugo saying, "If he's going, I'm going too. I'm not letting this loser show me up." Toroki says, "I'm going too." And many of the other members of the class, including the big 3 members, say they want to go as well. All Might says, "I'm afraid I can't ask this of you." Mirio looks at All Might and says, "We should let them. I've seen some of them in action." All Might says, "Very well then, let's go." Aizawa says, "Wait, All Might, I'm tagging along. I'm not letting my students go in alone." He turns to his students and says, "Whoever isn't coming is perfectly acceptable. Go to the teacher's room and explain the situation." The students get their hero suits on and make their way outside, where a couple of helicopters are waiting for them. 15 minutes later, the helicopters land on the bridge leading to Tartarus Prison, where they meet other heroes. On the hero side, we have All Might, Lemillion, Eraserhead, Endeavor, Yami, aka the Black Swordsman as I'm calling him, Hawks, Best Jeanist, Gran Torino, Camely Woods, Mount Lady, Ryukyu, the Dragon Lady from the next arc, Sun Eater, which is Amajiki, Nejire, Fat Gum, Night Eye, Midoriya, Bakugo, Todoroki, Ida, Yaoyorozu, Uraraka, Tokoyami, Kirishima, and Tsuyu Asui. The villains come out of the prison with Shigaraki walking right next to All for One. Shigaraki says, "Thanks for coming to rescue me, Sensei, and sorry for disappointing you." All for One says, "It's nothing. You are the future after all. I'm not disappointed. Mistakes are normal. Everything is alright as long as you learn from them and improve." On the villain's side, we have All for One, Shigaraki, 2 high-end Nomus with them, Muscular, Mage, Mustard, Moonfish, Twice, Mr. Compress, the slime villain from the beginning of the series, the giant villain from the very first episode, Gigantomachia, Stain, Dabi, Toga, and Spinner. The villains step out of the broken prison doors and spot the heroes not too far in front of them. Shigaraki says All Might and says, "It's him." Not Shigaraki. Stain sees All Might and says, "It's him. Only he is worthy." He then sees Endeavor and his eyes narrow. All for One says, "No need for a confrontation. Kurogiri, will you please?" Kurogiri says, "Certainly, master." He opens a portal, 6 Nomu coming through. He then opens another one, but he then prepares to open another one, but Aizawa uses his quirk, blocking Kurogiri from opening it. Midoriya summons his sword and rockets towards Kurogiri, making a small cut on his arm. All Might rushes over and hits Kurogiri over the head, knocking him out. All for One smiles and says, "Well, let it be known I wanted a semi-peaceful resolution to this." He hits All Might back and throws them towards the other side of the bridge. The battle has begun. Stain smiles as well as he rushes towards Endeavor, smiling and saying, "Kill the fake." But before he can get there, he's stopped by Yami, who slashes at Stain. Stain quickly reacts and blocks with his sword. Yami says, "You're going to pay for killing Julius, Stain." Stain says to his 3 followers, Dabi, Spinner, and Toga, "Kill the fake! Kill Endeavor!" The 3 of them go after Endeavor. The high ends go into attack, but Mirio rushes onto one, hitting him with a punch using One for All, hitting him up into the air and jumping along with him. He says to the other big 3 members, "Guys, I got this one. Take the other." So Nejire and Sun Eater go after to attack the other high-end Domu. Ida says, "Okay, Class A, let's help out however we can." Bakugo smiles and says, "Let's kill those Nomu." Midoriya, rushing out one of them, says, "Way ahead of you, Kachan." Midoriya slashes his arm as it drops. Bakugo goes in for an attack, hitting it in the head. Troku freezes his feet as Ida rushes in for a kick. Ruka manages to make him float, throwing him up in the air. Yakuza makes a cannon, shoots the Nomu way up in the air, throwing him onto the stratosphere. Ruka then releases the Nomu as it plunges to its defeat, splattering onto the ground a couple miles away. Tsuyu says, "That was impressive." Bakugo says, "We aren't done." As he looks at the next Nomu, he says, "We're taking all of them down." In the air, the high-end Nomu, the one we know from the Endeavor arc, is flying frantically through the air, trying to get Mirio off him. Nomu says, "Get off! Hurting me!" Mirio says, "Sorry about that," while using 70% of One For All, punching the Nomu over and over until the Nomu... Well, yeah, he then does a final punch using 80%, throwing the Nomu way up into the air and eventually falling in the ocean. The punch, while taking the high-end Nomu out of commission, at the same time propelling himself into the air. Nejire, in the ground, tries to hit the second high-end Nomu repeatedly, but it doesn't work as the high-end Nomu is way too fast, evading every single blow that's thrown at her. Sun Eater then uses a piece of octopus he ate to make a tentacle and restrains the high-end Nomu. Nejire managed to land a punch saying, "Times 20! The high-end Nomu laughs and says, "Tickle." Mirio then screams from the air as he falls out of the way! Nejire and Sun Eater jump back and Mirio hits the Nomu over the head, throwing him 300 meters east, basically into the ocean. He then phases right into the ground and comes right out without a single scratch on him. Sun Eater says, "That was amazing, Mirio." Mirio says, "Do you really think so?" Sun Eater says, "Yes, you were like the sun. I on the other hand didn't do much." And he says, "Don't sell yourself short, buddy. But now is not the time to be talking about this. We need to go help All Might." Bakugo manages to solo the 5th Nomu by himself. The slime villain comes out of nowhere. He says, "Now, what an interesting and powerful quirk you got there, kid. Don't struggle. It only made it more painful for you." This slime villain starts going into Bakugo as Bakugo struggles as much as he can, creating small explosions trying to get the slime monster off himself. Midoriya notices while fighting the Nomu number 4 and goes to help Bakugo. He cuts the slime villain, making him solidify. Bakugo says, "Don't ever do that again, you bastard!" and uses his giant explosions at the slime villain, scattering his remains all over the area and taking him out of commission. Midoriya makes a different sword and says, "Hey Bakugo, I want to try something. I've been working on this for a bit. Want to give it a try?" Bakugo says, "Hell yeah, Deku." Midoriya says, "Blow up my sword, please." Bakugo focuses a lot of explosive power on the sword, but nothing really happens except the sword starts glowing for a bit. Midoriya rushes at the remaining, the 6th Nomu, because the other students just took down the 4th, and says, "Demon Sweller Slash!" Hitting the Nomu, a giant explosion happens, sending the Nomu flying into the air. This is the Demon Sweller Sword that the Asta has, the one that allows him to use magical power to aid him. In a different part of the bridge, Night Eye just took down Mage. Twice goes to Mage's unconscious body and says, "Come on, buddy, you have to get up." He makes 2 clones of Mage to attack Night Eye, but Night Eye sees this coming, takes them down fairly easily. He then hits twice over the head and looks into his future. He stumbles back and he exclaims, "No, can't be!" Muscular is pounding at Fat Gum, trying to take him down, but Fat Gum is holding his own, seeing as he absorbs all the damage. Aizawa comes along and looks at Muscular disabling his quirk. Muscular starts getting smaller as the muscle fibers go back into his body. Fat Gum just hits Muscular over the head. After that, his stomach rumbles and Fat Gum says, "Man, I could really go for some pizza right about now." Mountain Lady and Camille Woods finally managed to take down the giant villain from the beginning of the series. Mountain Lady says, "How did that take so long? I took him down in 1 hit last time." Camille Woods turns to her saying, "Yeah, because you came out of nowhere and landed the final blow. I already basically took care of him." Ryuko then smashes into Mountain Lady, having turned from dragon self to normal self. My lady turns and says, "Hey, what's the big idea?" She then she is then stunned seeing Gigantomachia, a giant beast that they now have to fight. Ryoko gets back up, turning back into her dragon form, and goes in for another try, this time aided by Mount Lady and Camellie Woods. Best Genius is managing to barely hold Moonfish at bay, since every time Best Genius uses his quirk, the metal teeth of Moonfish just cut through the fibers. Best Genius already had to sacrifice a lot of his clothes to fight Moonfish. Clothes weren't easy to use. Like, yeah. And Moonfish clothes weren't easy to use because it just kept breaking them. Best Genius starts using the fibers of the bridge itself, but can't do much since Moonfish is just cutting through everything, asking for blood. Gran Torino then comes in to help, hitting Moonfish over the bridge. And because Moonfish was using his quirk, he can't really close his mouth that well, so Moonfish drowns in the water. Aizawa takes care of Mustard really easily by covering his mouth and going in for an attack. Mustard did try to use his gun, but Aizawa got it out of his hands using the binding claws and hit him over the head, taking Mustard out of the running. Shigaraki all this time has been trying to figure out what to do, but seeing All Might become smaller and smaller as he's using his last remaining power to fight All for One, Shigaraki ultimately decides to go after him. He runs, saying, "I'm going to kill you, All Might!" Gran Torino comes in and hits Shigaraki over the head, saying, "You have to go through me first." Shigaraki smiles and says, "That can be arranged." Shigaraki goes in to kill Gran Torino. Gran Torino evades. Aizawa comes in to assist, taking away Shigaraki's quirk, and Gran Torino and Aizawa hit Shigaraki over the head at the same time, one from behind, the other one from the front. Hawks tries to defeat Mr. Compress, but every time he uses his feathers, Mr. Compress just turns them into the small balls. But sneaking some feathers behind him, Hawks does manage to take Mr. Compress down. Aizawa, Gran Torino, and Hawks go to fight Gigantomachia and help their comrades. Endeavor all this time has been trying to keep 3 villains at bay, evading one, matching one's firepower because otherwise you would be overwhelmed, and trying not to get hit by the other, but Toga does manage to stab him a couple of times. Todoroki, after the Class 1A students defeats all the Nomu, comes in freezing all the villains over. As Toga turns into Endeavor, Todoroki walks towards them. Toga says, "Free me, son," and he Endeavor just frees himself, and Todoroki says, "I'm not gonna do anything for you, fake." Todoroki keeps walking towards them. Dabi does the same thing, freeing himself. Todoroki and him battle for a bit. Todoroki is aided by Endeavor. And they keep fighting when something grabs their attention. But again, I'm getting ahead of myself. Back with All Might versus All for One. All Might has used all his strength trying to keep All for One at bay, so they don't destroy the bridge. He's trying to match his strength. All for One smiles as he taunts All Might. "What is with that pathetic form, All Might? You really have gotten weaker since our last battle. Whereas I am only more powerful." All Might coughs blood and he meets another one of All for One's punches. All for One says, "Could it be because you passed on One for All, maybe? To one of the brightest students at UA, Mirio Togata, that you are now so weak?" All Might looks afraid at All for One, but still smiles, as All for One says, "Oh, that expression on your face. But that smile persists, huh? You know, my apprentice Tomura Shigaraki. This is really gonna strike something with you. His real name is Tenko Shimura. Yeah, I can see it on your face. That look of terror on your face. Finally gone. Yes, he is your sensei's grandson." The students and members of Big Three of UA run towards a weaker All Might, wanting to help. All Might looks at them, getting distracted. Mirio shouts, "Look out, All Might!" All for One grabs All Might by the throat, putting him up and saying, Now that that pathetic look's on your face, time for you to die. He hits All Might in the torso, smashing it in, and he drops All Might's dead body to the ground as all the students look at All for One in horror. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Leave a like if you did. If you have any suggestions, make sure to leave them in the comments below. Join me next episode for the conclusion of this mini arc I made and the end of this series. Until next time, have a nice day, everyone. Bye!